Welcome to the American Roundtable, your half hour of political power. I'm Al Spry.
And I'm drea.
We have a jam-packed show for you, as always. We're going to talk about the big Equifax breach. Also, we're going to talk about how to protect your own cybersecurity with our good friend Joseph Boy from yourcomputersolutions.net. What do you think of that, Drea?
I think that's awesome.
This is going to be an incredible show, as always. We like to call it Politics is Unusual. American Roundtable is heard, of course, on our friends in Orlando at Channel 38. As well as the Tough TV network. And additionally, if you want to find out more about American Roundtable, we invite you to our Facebook page at facebook.com/USA Roundtable. That's facebook.com/USA Roundtable. Are you ready, Drea Doll?
I'm ready.
Are you ready to take this ship into the stratosphere?
Let's do this.
There's all kinds of things that we have to talk about today, and we so appreciate you joining us here every week on American Roundtable. Welcome back to the American Roundtable. Well, let's talk about the story that's on a lot of people's minds, which is the Equifax breach that happened just a few weeks ago. We're talking about, Drea Doll, half the country was affected. I put my name and my social in and stuff, and guess what? I was one of the people that was affected by this breach. So let me tell you, this was a huge breach. Why this was allowed to happen at one of the 3 reporting agencies, which is supposed to have the top security, we're going to talk about that in a little bit with Joseph Boy, our friend from yourcomputersolutions.net. But in the meantime, let's take a look at this angle. There's some executives, 3 to be exact, who decided that before the information was released, this is according to the story here that I have from Newser, that they were going to sell their shares, about 35% $2 million worth of shares in Equifax before the news broke. To me, that sounds like insider trading. What does it sound like to you, Drea?
It sounds like they knew something, and it took them a while to tell people.
It did take them a while, so let's take a look at this. It's a September 7th. Let's take a look at September 7th. Shares of the company's stock since that date have fallen 35%. At the center of the investigation are the following people: CFO, Chairman Financial, John Gamble, one of the big shots; Joseph Loughran, Loughran, who is a company president of U.S. Information Solutions; and Rodolfo Ploder, who is president of Workforce Solutions. These guys are way up in Equifax. Although Equifax has insisted the execs had, quote, no knowledge that an intrusion had occurred, unquote, before they sold off their shares. Per USA Today, Bloomberg noted that regulatory filings didn't suggest that the sales were included in any pre-scheduled trading arrangements, Drea Doll. So this tells me the fact that these shares took place on August 1st and August 2nd. The breach was discovered July 29th. The problem is that the public wasn't told about this until quite a while after that. It looks pretty damning.
They were holding on to the information so they could arrange their sale.
What do you think should happen to them?
Same thing that happened to Martha Stewart.
Jail, baby. We suggest jail here on American Roundtable. Anybody that wants to make money like that, insider trading, well, it's un-American. It's greedy. It's nasty. And I'm PO'd just because I was one of the guys that got my information sold and stolen. But we'll have more on that. And next, we'll be talking with Joseph Boy about it and about your computer security right after this on American Roundtable. Welcome back to the American Roundtable. I'm Al Spry. I have a very special guest here with us, and it is Joseph Boy. Joe is with yourcomputersolutions.net. He is a computer expert and also a cybersecurity expert. And because we were talking about Equifax, I figured he'd be a great guest to bring on today's show. So, Joe, welcome to the American Roundtable.
Thank you, Al.
It's great to have you here. First, tell us a little bit about you and how you developed your love for computers and how you're able to help millions of people.
Well, currently I run a full-service computer firm that works with people in the Orlando and Central Florida area, keeping their machines running smoothly for small networks and small businesses and individuals. And our goal is making sure that people are safe, they know what they're doing, and they're happy with what they want the computer to do for them.
Yeah, this is great, and you got into the line of cybersecurity. How you, because you really know a lot about it, and of course we've spoken previously about this subject. So
I've had a passion for computers and security ever since I was 12, and literally riding down a bicycle down Orlando, fixing people's computers and learning about mistakes and how other people have found ways to hurt other people through the computer. So I've worked my way in developing new ways to help people and solve those problems and keep people running smoothly without having those issues.
I want to talk about that, but first I want to talk about your take on this Equifax breach. What happened here? This was shocking. I mean, we've had breaches of companies, major companies in the past, but nothing on the scale of this. This is the most damaging breach in history.
It's really bad when you have a company that is responsible for protecting your data and then judging you and your credibility, and they're the ones that get hacked. They're responsible to judge whether or not you are creditworthy, and they can judge you anytime they want. They can affect your credit, and now they're the ones at risk, and it creates a real problem.
What do you think happened, though? What do you think in your gut? How were they able to get in here based on what you've seen?
Well, I can't determine how they got in and hurt Equifax. That's Equifax's issue, and I'm sure they have a lot of people that are going to get fired over it. The key element is making sure that it doesn't happen again, and that people that do have a problem get protection. And there are things you can do to solve that.
Yeah, I want to talk about some steps that you can take to solve it. To me, though, I will say this: shocking. They said that through the interface where people log in, they were somehow able to develop something to break in. I mean, so if that's the case, if they did it through the actual site, what's to stop them from doing it on any site?
Well, it all depends on how the sites are written, and there's a lot of technical jargon that I don't want to throw at you. But the main issues are every site could be eventually gotten into depending on where the hosting's at and how someone gets in. The key element is making sure to prevent it from occurring again and then protecting those who may have been affected. Now, there is a website you can go to. It is EquifaxSecurity2017.com. And on there, you can type in your last name and your last 6 digits of your Social Security number. With that, it will tell you right away whether or not you're affected.
I was.
And I know you did so, and you are affected. If you are affected, they will offer you free access to a monitoring service. Of course, it's a service they run, and they're assuming you're going to trust them and continue to trust them.
Exactly, and I had to do that. I mean, what choice do I have at this point? So
correct. And so there are 2 other agencies that handle credit repair, and I think their stocks are going to go up, and they'll do quite well.
Unless they get hacked. You think they're going nuts over there at the other 2?
I think they're red flagged and concerned. I think they're going to be concerned and watching their security really well, because this is going to change a lot of the markets if, for some reason, anyone, including the people that are judging those who are creditworthy, can be infiltrated.
Excellent points. We're going to talk a little bit more with our friend Joseph Boy here in just a few minutes. He is with yourcomputersolutions.net. You want to check that out. You also want to check out our Facebook page for American Roundtable, which is facebook.com/USA Roundtable. You can comment. You could say hi. You could tell us to, whatever you want to do. But it's always available there to you on Facebook. A lot of people like Facebook. This is American Roundtable on Tough TV 38 and Tough TV Network nationwide with the best in politics. See you right back here. Okay. Welcome back to the American Roundtable. It's great to have Joe Boy here from yourcomputersolutions.net. Check them out. They have nationwide solutions, local solutions to Central Florida, all kinds of stuff, and I really appreciate you coming on board, Joe.
Thanks, sir.
Joe is a lot of fun. He's a great guy. Let's talk about this breach in terms of this sale. This has all the hallmarks of insider trading to me. I mean, you have the breach, you have no public knowledge, and then all of a sudden you have big dumping of shares by the top 3 guys at Equifax. Do you agree with me on that one?
I think there's a big risk there. I think based on the dates, it seemed to be they sold their stocks 2 days after the actual breach. I think that makes for a big problem for them, and I think their attorneys will be very busy.
Well, I agree with you there. Now let's talk about some stuff that you can do to protect your cybersecurity. Take it away, man.
Well, when it comes to your own computer, you want to make sure that you protect yourself, especially when it comes to financial data and personal data. Stop using your laptop to look up your banking information. Your laptop, most people don't put a password on the laptop. If you're going to use your laptop as your main computer, then make sure to put a password on the laptop itself so that if someone actually finds your laptop or someone uses it when you're not around, that you can go ahead and have it password protected. Make sure the password protection on your screensaver is at 10 minutes or less so that no one just logs on and takes a look at your stuff. It takes less than 5 minutes to get your transfer funds out of your bank account, and it looks like you did it yourself. And that's a real problem. The other things is try to make sure not to use public computers to look at your finances. Make sure to use your financial institutions as well as your banks and your retirement accounts and all that. Do that on your own personal computer at home or in your own place. Some of the other items you can do is monitor your emails. Make sure that your emails are safe. Don't click on attachments that you don't know where it came from. If you're not sure, you can look up at the top and they'll show a header. That header will have the name of someone that you know, but the email address will not match the person that you know. They'll have like a UK or an ED or another ending. And if you see something that looks slightly odd, then don't open any of the links.
You know, this is a great point because I just had something I received from supposedly PayPal, but I always checked the header, like you said, and it had xyqzx at euronet.eu.ru or something like that, and I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't even have the word PayPal in it. I knew right then and there that it was a fake email, right?
Correct.
So,
and with it ending at RU, that's actually from Russia. You can actually pretty tell where some of this stuff is coming from. We actually get a lot from Russia. We get some from Albania. We get a lot are now coming from North Korea.
China too, right?
We get some from China, but most are coming from right now North Korea. I'm noticing a large trend of Russian and North Korea attacks, for lack of better terminology. And they're using names that are coming out of your list. Now, the question is, how do they get your name and the names of your friends initially? And that's usually through malware, and that comes off of advertisers on sites you go to. So it's not your fault, it's the fault of the advertisers that are on the sites that you're going to, and they've been infected and therefore getting you.
Oh my goodness, so it's not even direct like that.
Correct.
This is something, of course, to be aware of. I will say this, though. I know you made the point earlier about computers in public and laptops, but more and more is being done right here on this. So what can people do with regards to their cell phones?
When it comes to your cell phone, keeping a password on it is important. Number 2, making sure to turn off external types of connection, whether or not it be RDFI or other Wi-Fi connectors. And there's a lot of them that are automatically turned on depending on the brand and the style of phone that you have. So you really should have them turned off. And if you're not sure, bring on a professional to take a look at it. It doesn't hurt to make sure you have a professional looking at your stuff and making sure things are safe. Having a firewall for your computer. I tell a lot of people, they purchase internet service, and that internet service offers a router with it. Put another router behind that. That way you have a secondary firewall to protect you and your computer from those prying eyes.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, Joseph Boyd. Joseph
you.
Boyd with yourcomputersolutions.net. Check him out right now. And, mention American Roundtable. He'll give you a discount, wouldn't you?
Of course.
See, look at that. This is fantastic. Thank you, Joe. We'll have Joe in every so often to talk about computer issues because he is the man with the master computer plan. And we love Joe, and I thank him again. We'll have Drea Dahl right back here with me. I'm Al Spry. Of course, you're watching the American Roundtable on Tough TV and Tough TV 38. Welcome back to the American Roundtable. So happy to have you with us. Some interesting information I would suggest to you, Drea Dalla, from our friend Joseph Boyer, wouldn't you say?
Yes, definitely.
What is your take on this? Have you checked to see if your name was listed on the
I have
on the
not
list?
looked yet because I get it hacked enough in my own right, so I just assume it probably is.
Yeah, I got you, man. You and me both. Well, let's take a look from the Equifax scandal to this next thing, which I don't know about you, but this has me quite distressed. There's a new real estate game, I guess you're going to call it a scam, that investors are playing with poor people and people that maybe are just trying to get their first home. And I don't like this kind of stuff. It's not nice. It's not Christian. It's just scummy. It's a story according to the New Republic. It quotes a new era of real estate speculation in the U.S., one that's taking a depressing toll on poor neighborhoods across the country. What's happening here? Well, we had the housing bust of '08, which left a glut of abandoned properties. And the simplicity of buying online. You can buy property online. So you take these two and you combine them together. Well, it's not pretty. Investors are scooping up dilapidated houses through online tax services. They're then maybe $5,000 range. They don't do anything in terms of renovating them. And then they flip them, try to sell them to unsophisticated, buyers who are maybe not that smart in these matters for a profit. So, but tax sales, that's not the purpose of these tax sales, Drea. These aren't supposed to be about just getting rid of the properties. It's about getting them into the hands of owners who are then going to redevelop them and, bring the neighborhoods back, because we've seen devastation to a lot of neighborhoods. So what's your take on this?
Well, I knew this was happening a few years ago, just being in the mortgage industry, when anyone that would try to buy a foreclosed home was outbid by a foreign company. They said they had a 7-year plan for it. I guess this was their plan. It's why I don't think that just anyone should be able to buy real estate here.
Yeah, I don't either. I think there should be some kind of regulations on the purchase of real estate, especially online, to avoid these things. Because according to this article, the quote is, such schemes have inspired investors in England to purchase vacant properties in Cleveland over eBay, and a Colorado pawnbroker to close on homes in Buffalo via PayPal. And then they're just selling these homes, and they're not getting fixed up. And it's just a big mess. I mean, basically, there's the Baltimore Return Fund LLC said, call the number on the for sale no credit check sign. The company in Texas will offer to sell you the falling down house for $30,000, even though they paid $5,500 for it. And you know what? They trace it back to a Houston millionaire who seems to have mastered the formula. So this guy had all the money in the world, but it's still not enough. He has to take advantage of people. We're not for it. This is American Roundtable. We'll have some final thoughts after this. Welcome back to the American Roundtable. Some final thoughts for you. Let's talk about diversity. And Drea Dahl, that in this world, in this country, we're having some racial issues. Stuff that's been under the surface for a long time is starting to bubble up. I grew up in New York City. I grew up with a lot of different races, religions, ethnicities. To me, the color of your skin is no different than the color of your eyeballs. Would you agree with me on that one?
Yes.
So that said, let's take a look at some of the least diverse places in the United States and some of the most diverse places as far as different types of people. We have the most, California is number 1, Texas is number 2, Hawaii is number 3, New Jersey's number 4, and number 5 is New York, where I'm from.
Why not Florida?
Oh, they're probably in the top 10. I mean, we're a pretty diverse state here in Florida. Now let's take a look at some of the least diverse states. We have number 5 is Montana. Not much out there anyway. Cows and white guys, I think. New Hampshire's number 4. Vermont, number 3. Not a very diverse place, Vermont. Maine, number 2. That's just a lot of older folks. Not a lot of people move to Maine. And then West Virginia's number 1. I actually have a couple of friends who own a small hotel in a little town in West Virginia.
It's because they're all related.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, not a lot of... I think that what we're seeing, if you look at those two lists, is the following. The more diverse states are the ones that have more people moving to them from other places, like New York, like California. You could throw Florida in there too, and Texas. The least would be the places that are kind of dying, right? They're kind of, and I don't mean that in a bad way. If you live in one of those states...
The most diverse, you can get to all of them from water.
But right. The ones are with the water, and the other, well, Maine's near the water, but the other ones are more dying in terms of, a lot of terms of population growth. So you have West Virginia, not a lot of people moving there. Maine, not a lot of people moving there. Vermont, definitely not a lot of people moving to Vermont. I mean, they have ice cream and cows. New Hampshire, they have a really good, I used to go to New Hampshire. I don't think they have a sales tax on
They don't
income.
have a lot of people in any of these
clothing.
states, though, either.
And you're right, not a lot of population. So I just thought it was an interesting kind of taking a look at where the more diverse places are and where the least diverse places. I think diversity is a good thing. I think that people, when they're exposed to people that are of other religions and other races,
As long as they're legal.
exactly, then they, and even if not, I mean, if they're not hurting nobody, you know.
No.
You know where
They're
a lot of,
hurting you.
do you know where a lot of illegal
You have to
people
pay
come
for
from?
them.
People from Europe that overstay their visas.
They should go, too.
This is the American Roundtable. I'm Al Spry.
I'm Drea Dahl.
And I'll tell you something. We want you to keep it real.
Keep it tough.
See ya.
Bye.